Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, YouTube. Back again this month with another installment of the top 10 highest selling vintage, antique, and contemporary marbles on eBay for April 2023. I went ahead and made a few format changes to the video this month that I think will be welcomed. First off, best offers will not make it into a top 10 list. They will be saved for the new honorable mentions at the end of the video. That is because we cannot see what the official selling price was for those best offers. I also went ahead and put the individuals before the groups. Figured most of you guys here are interested in individual marbles. I also have a bit of reservations on continuing with the groups, mostly because I know there are some dubious sellers out there, and I don't want to be an advertisement for them. If you have any thoughts or opinions on how I can make my list better, please go ahead and drop them in the comments. I'm happy to hear all thoughts. Without further ado, let's get into the list. In the number 10 spot, we have a large 0.77 inch vintage German handmade black base banded Lutz marble. It's sold via Buy It Now for $325 right at the end of the month on April 30th. This is a beautiful marble. Looks like it has its pontils still in wonderful condition, and I bet that Lutz shimmers wonderfully. In ninth place is a 1.98 inch antique German sulfide handmade marble, beautiful detailed eagle bird rare, sold via Buy It Now for $400. This does seem to be a beautiful sulfide, wonderful condition. Fortunately, I'm not too knowledgeable on these, so I can't speak too much. Just admire the beauty. Coming in at number 8 is a 1.98 inch antique vintage German rare solid green swirl core glass beautiful marble. Sold for $450 on April 15th via Buy It Now. This is a rather striking marble with a green core and red and yellow swirls on the exterior. It does seem to be in beautiful condition and is quite a large size. Number 7 may seem familiar, but I assure you it is different. It is a 2.22 inch antique German sulfide handmade marble, beautiful detailed eagle bird rare. This is a eagle sulfide, a different mold from the marble that made it into the number 9 spot. It is also slightly larger. It seemed to fetch a bit more, $470 via Buy It Now on April 19th. Sliding into the number 6 spot, we have a vintage marble Christensen agate CAC very rare burnt orange slag shooter 3/4. Sold via Buy It Now on April 19th for $499. It is a exceptionally striking marble. The pictures don't seem to really showcase the larger 3/4 inch size, but I imagine it does look quite beautiful in hand. I don't think I personally would have ever guessed that this is a Christensen agate. Pretty cool. At number 5, we have a Tightline vintage acro agate Indian blanket corkscrew marble 5/8 inch wet mint. Sold on April 27th via auction after just one bid for $500. Someone really wanted that marble, and I see why. This is nothing less than a premium example of acro agate's Indian blanket corkscrew, defined by the red ribbon on top of yellow on top of black, corkscrewing from top to bottom. Unmistakable. At number 4, selling for a hefty $560 after a well-fought 24 bids, we have a vintage marble 4 colors 5/8 inch Christensen Peltier Acro ? Estate find. Judging by the very pronounced flame pattern, the color combination, and the number of bids, I do believe this is a genuine Christensen agate flame swirl marble. First to step onto the pedestal in the number 3 spot is a top shelf rare Christensen agate striped opaque vintage marble 43/64 inch mint. What a precise measurement. Selling for $600 after just one bid. That buyer ensured it was coming home to their collection. This marble is almost breathtaking. At number 2 is an early vintage Peltier Miller Swirl glass marble 0.8 inch mint condition. And folks, I think that's exactly what it is. Selling for $610 after 26 bids on April 25th. I think some collectors would classify this as a Christmas or a Christmas tree. If you have any thoughts, drop them in the comments. At the number one spot, selling for $925 after just one bid, is a 2.37 inch stunning antique German glass marble, huge spotted minty wet single pontal. Definitely don't see these every day. I absolutely love that bottom pontal and all of the dots swirling into it. This would be a wonderful marble to inspect in hand. That does it for the highest selling individual marbles in the month of April. Let's move on to the top 10 selling group lots. Like I said at the intro, I do have some reservations on continuing the count of group lots. I have my suspicions that some of these groups are seeded by nefarious collectors to fool prospective buyers into spending more money than what the group may be worth. If you have any thoughts, please drop them in the comments. Coming in at the number 10 spot is a vintage lot of 220 assorted sizes and colorful style marbles, selling at auction after 44 bids for $294. This is quite an eclectic mix of both German handmades and machine mades. Looks like possibly a nice Joseph coat, but I don't know my handmades too well. One thing you got to look out for in these type of lots is the larger handmades may be polished and you can't tell from the photos. At number 9 is a superb lot of 750 plus vintage marbles acro agate Peltier uranium random, selling at auction for $305 after 46 bids. Considering the number of bids, there must have been at least a few people that wanted to add a few of these marbles to their collection. At number 8, we have a vintage box of 16 acro marbles uranium glass UV reactive glow with blacklight, selling after 8 bids for $316. This does seem to be a genuine acro agate box for the famous carnelian marbles. However, it does not seem to be complete, nor am I sure if the marbles are original to the box. At number 7 is approximately 500 vintage marbles 9/16 to 1 inch plus acro Peltier Christensen, selling for $337 after 58 bids on April 13th. This does seem to be also another eclectic mix. However, I do believe I spot a Vacor Serpent in the group, which is a newer marble that a lot of nefarious sellers will use to imitate a Peltier Superman. When I see a Vacor Serpent within a group lot, I typically run the other direction. At number 6 is a antique vintage old marbles lot of 230 plus, selling via auction for $355 after 16 bids on April 24th. This seems to be quite a nice group of early to mid-century American marbles, with maybe some smaller German handmades mixed in. I would love to sort through this group. At number 5 in the group lots, we have a Estate Barn Find Vintage Marble Collection 400 plus marbles that sold on April 16th via Buy It Now for $400. As shown by the photos, this is another eclectic group of early earthenwares and ceramics, early European handmades, and some early American machine mades. In the number 4 spot is a vintage marbles mixed lot of 1300 to 1500 mini UV acro pelt Christensen agate German etc. Selling at auction after 34 bids for $450. One manufacturer that I spot that the seller seems to have omitted from their title is a vitro agate, a newer vitro agate at that. Not saying this was a nefariously gathered lot, but it's the small things like that that I notice that typically steer me away from these big group lots. At number 3 is an estate lot of vintage glass marbles unsorted, selling for $463 after 42 bids. I really liked that this seller left it up to the bidders to determine what was in the lot. I think it was a decent number of acro Popeyes that inflated this auction. Number 2 spot was from a UK seller, a vintage antique glass Dazzlers marbles times 33 in original boxes, selling for $573 US after 22 bids. That's 458 British pounds. These are quite unique. I do believe these are either handmaids or transitionals from Europe. They are very similar to the American-made slags in looks. However, I do believe the process to make them is different. If you know any more, go ahead and drop it in the comments. And at the number 1 spot for group lots is a huge lot of 400 plus vintage marbles acro agate Peltier uranium random, selling at auction for $648 after 51 bids. I took a few minutes to zoom through the photos for this lot, and although there are some nice marbles, I personally didn't spot anything that made me understand why it went for such a high price. However, there were 51 bids, so clearly some people saw something or some things that they thought was worth it. If you see anything, go ahead and drop a comment. That does it for both the top 10 countdowns. There were a number of individual and group lots that either sold via best offer or didn't sell for quite enough to make it on the list that I thought should still be showcased within the video. So I went ahead and made this honorable mention section that I'll just let slide through. I'm not going to speak over. Just going to go ahead and say now, thanks for watching and have a great day.